Kriana Fantasy is a game set in the Royal Kriana Academy. It is a very popular dating action RPG where the route changes depending on the player's actions. Players can either enjoy the intense battle system while attending the academy or focus on dating the academy's heroines. The game offers a great deal of freedom and many different ending routes. However, there is one character who always stands in the player's way without fail. That character is Alba Eretia, the son of a duke. He is a strong, arrogant, self-indulgent womanizer with a fierce temper. He is considered the ultimate villain, destined to become the enemy of the game's protagonist. Meanwhile, in the middle of a mountain, a young man steps out of a cabin with a hoe in hand, preparing to farm. This person is none other than Alba Eretia, the delinquent son of the duke, who now lives alone in the mountains. The place is peaceful, filled with the sound of birds chirping, rivers flowing, and animals calling. Alba begins his day by plowing the fields, and while doing so, he recalls something that reveals a big secret. It turns out he is not truly Alba, but someone else who reincarnated into this character's body 3 years ago. 3 years earlier at Duke Eretia's mansion, the protagonist awakens in Alba's body after reincarnation. At that time, he barely recognizes his surroundings or even his reflection in the mirror. Yet fragments of memory slowly return and he recalls a certain game. It is a youth fantasy game set in the Kriana Royal Academy, where one particular villain always opposes the protagonist, and that villain is Alba. In one route, Alba steals a heroine from the protagonist as a rival. In another, he succumbs to corruption and becomes the destroyer of the academy. Regardless of the chosen route, Alba is destined to be the ultimate villain. To make matters worse, the protagonist's memory of the game is incomplete, as he never played through every route. Still, he remembers Alba clearly because the character appeared countless times and was always annoyingly persistent. Now, faced with Alba's reflection staring back at him, he wonders in shock if he has truly been reincarnated as Alba. Yet even more overwhelming than his confusion is the single thought that now dominates his mind, that Alba is guaranteed to die. His death will occur either in a duel with the protagonist over a heroine or at the hands of the protagonist as punishment for his evil deeds. No matter the route, no matter the choices, Alba's death flag cannot be avoided. However, he refuses to accept this fate or wait helplessly for his own end without understanding why he was reincarnated in the first place. Although he cannot imagine a way to change destiny, he resolves to do the only logical thing he can think of at this moment: escape from his fate entirely. When his room is discovered empty and all his valuables missing, the maids immediately inform the Duke, who, enraged, yells Alba's name. Yet Alba remains certain that running away is the only way to avoid his destined end. By selling the valuables he took with him, he believes he can sustain himself and live quietly in the countryside, far from the path of doom that once awaited him. Back in the present, it has been 3 years since that day. After running away, the first thing he did was dye and cut his hair. Then he bought a small cottage in the mountains. Though it is inconvenient compared to his past life, he lives a leisurely life, farming on sunny days and reading on rainy ones. More importantly, he is alive. Just then, someone comes out of the house apologizing to him for oversleeping. At that moment, Alba recalls that the goddess of destiny in this world is not so kind as to let him go. He greets the girl with a good morning, addressing her as Celia, and she giggles as she returns the greeting. This girl is Celia Margaret, one of the potential love interests in the game. She informs him that he has received a letter to which he assumes it concerns his debt and tells her to simply eat it. She replies that she is not a goat, which makes Alba laugh. He pats her head while apologizing, and this makes her very happy. He knows that according to his plan, he should not become involved with her, as she is one of the people who could lead him to his death flag. Celia is a saintess who, by the grace of the goddess, is a rare and famous person who excels in healing magic and is able to predict disasters. One might wonder why and how the saintess is involved with him. The answer lies half a year ago, when he was living alone and still adjusting to this world. Since this is the same world as the game, he is already familiar with its vegetables, allowing him to begin farming without difficulty, something for which he is very grateful. Setting that aside, he suspects Alba's family has not started searching for him yet, which is fortunate since he is deeply worried about that. But he didn't expect the people in town to treat him as if he were already dead. Since his family does not deny those rumors, Alba suspects that they hated him quite a bit as well. He decides not to dwell on it too much and stretches as he finishes harvesting. Just then, he hears a noise coming from afar and wonders if it was a scream. It turns out to be so, as a carriage is attacked, inside of which is the saintess. As one of the guards tells the saintess to run away, he is swiftly eliminated. Not only him, but all the others are also killed, leaving only the saintess. As she is cornered and an assassin points a dagger at her, she trembles in fear, insisting that they cannot do this. One of the assassins then suddenly closes the distance and attacks her. But before the assassin could harm her, something shrouded in lightning appeared between them and blasted the attacker away. This shocks the saintess and the other assassin as it all happens so quickly. The lightning turns out to be Alba, who states that although he does not know what is going on, they should not make girls cry. As he turns to face the saintess, he is taken aback as her face seems familiar. Trying to recall where he has seen her, he quickly remembers that she is one of the heroines. He is deeply distraught as she is one of the main characters connected to his death flag. Despite isolating himself deep in the mountains to avoid meeting any of the main characters, it ended up happening. From this incident, he believes the goddess of destiny will not overlook Alba escaping his fate, which he considers an unwelcome favor. Just as he contemplates his next course of action, assassins leap behind him to attack. Terrified, the saintess screams out, telling Alba to run. At that moment, he calls upon lightning to easily brush them aside, declaring that since contact has already been made, it cannot be helped. The saintess is deeply shocked as she witnesses Alba defeat all the assassins in a single blue flash. Ever since he isolated himself in the mountains, he trained relentlessly to understand and wield the power of this world's magic, and this is how he is able to eliminate the assassins with ease. Although he knows it is a game world, he cannot help but feel guilty about killing them. Realizing that he might one day end up like them, he resolves to escape his destiny. He becomes determined that no matter what kind of death awaits him, he will resist it with all his strength. After a brief pause, he turns to the saintess and asks if she is all right. Although he asked, he knows she is not, as all of her guards have been killed. He then apologizes for failing to save her companions. In response, she falls to her knees and bursts into tears, confessing that she cannot endure this any longer. She explains that she understands her duty as the saintess requires her to travel across the land on pilgrimage, but someone is always targeting her. Alba realizes from her reaction that today's event is the one that broke the camel's back. She continues, explaining that the saintess holds the second most powerful position in the church of the goddess after the pope. And because of this, she is constantly attacked by those who wish either to steal her power or to remove her as an obstacle to their ambitions. Every time innocent people are sacrificed to protect her, something she can no longer bear to witness. Alba reflects that if he were to see this scene play out on a game screen, he would think of it only as her backstory, but seeing this young girl crying before him leaves him no choice. This is reality, and these tears are not pixels on a screen. With streams of tears running down her face, the saintess expresses her wish to no longer be afraid and to simply live a normal life. After a short pause, Alba gently pets her head and crouches down. Then, without hesitation and with a warm smile, asks if she would like to come to his house. Hearing this, the girl freezes and looks at him in surprise, and he quickly realizes that anyone would be shocked to hear such an invitation spoken so suddenly. Yet he said it faster than he could think, as he is not speaking to a mere game character but to a human being just like himself. He then tells her that although he does not fully understand her situation, he can see how hard she has been working, and he believes it is only right for her to rest, since being able to rest enough to smile is far more important than working hard only to cry. Therefore, if her destiny is to bring her to tears, he tells her that she should simply run away. Alba knows that this girl wishes to rebel against her destiny just like him. He reaches out his hand and adds that if she has nowhere to run, she can run away with him. She happily accepts his offer and, taking his hand, requests to go with him. Alba is aware that he should not get close to a girl connected to his death flag, but he cannot help thinking that he would rather see her smile than cry. Just half a year later, he can see a smile on her face that suits her far better than tears. After Celia regained her good mood, she sent a letter to her father, the Pope, and received his reply today. As Alba asks her what the letter says, she suddenly hugs him. She then quietly asks if he will stay with her, to which he responds with a laugh, leaving Celia confused. He then assures her that of course he will, because he is the one who saved her and therefore he is responsible for her until the very end. Overjoyed, she hugs him again and expresses how happy she is. Alba suspects that she probably needs him to take her to the church where her father resides, and since it is his fault that she ran away, he knows he will not escape punishment easily. Celia then shows him an image and says they should go together to that place. This shocks him as the image turns out to be a pamphlet for Kriana Academy, the setting of the game. For Alba, that place is the executioner's block, overflowing with death flags, and he has promised himself never to approach it. Yet it seems the goddess of destiny will not let him escape. Celia then explains that her father suggested she attend the academy if she wishes to live a normal life, and if Alba comes with her, she will have the best school life ever. Hearing this, Alba responds with a warm smile, but deep down he does not want to set foot in that place. He has tried his best to stay away from Kriana Academy and the main characters of the game and instead live quietly in the mountains. Yet despite his efforts, he ends up going there anyway. When they arrive in front of the academy, Celia tells him to look at how big it is and he nervously agrees. Noticing his unease, she asks if he is feeling all right because he looks pale, to which he replies that it is just a bit of carriage sickness. Hearing this, she offers him a lap pillow to rest on. Alba nervously thanks her for the offer and declines. Though he has come here because of Celia, he does not blame her, as she is unaware of the death flags awaiting him at the academy or of how they are all connected to the heroines of the game, including herself. The question remains, why did he agree to come to this academy with her? To answer that, one must return to when Celia received letters from her father. Among them, there is one addressed to Alba. The sender of the letter, Celia's father, is the founder of the most powerful religion in this world, the Goddess Church. His power and authority stand on equal footing with the King of Kriana. Since he has been sheltering his daughter Celia due to certain circumstances, he fears that the letter might contain an angry warning or even a threat. However, when he opens the letter and reads a few lines, he is surprised, as it is filled with apologies and gratitude. In the letter, Celia's father explains that she is the saintess not because she is his daughter, but because she has received the grace of the goddess and has been born with miraculous power. From the moment she was born, her fate was sealed, and she devoted herself to the goddess's teachings. Thus, she visits the people who believe in the goddess ever since she becomes aware of her surroundings. No matter how hard or perilous the journey was, she sought to bring salvation to stray sheep with the power of the goddess. She never once complains to him and only fulfilled her duty. When asked, she always said that it is her duty as the saintess. He felt deeply grateful for his daughter to say such words with a smile on her lips. However, he now realizes what a fool he has been to never notice that her smile hides how she truly feels. He realizes that his daughter is also one of the stray sheep who cries on the inside, wishing for someone to save her. The Pope believes that Alba not only saved his daughter but also her soul, for which he feels nothing but the deepest gratitude toward him. Even so, Celia is still the saintess, and he is still the founder, yet as her father he wants to fulfill his beloved daughter's wish and support her in obtaining a normal life. With the situation being as it is, the Pope adds that Alba can go ahead and laugh at this old sinner. Reading this, Alba declares that he will not laugh. As Celia looks confused upon hearing this, he tells her that her father is a wonderful man, to which she happily agrees. Moving on, he continues reading the part where the Pope states that he wishes to make a request, which makes Alba groan in annoyance. Seeing his reaction, she asks him what is wrong, but he does not respond and continues reading. The Pope asks if Alba could attend the Kriana Academy alongside Celia. He describes the academy as a place where many talented people faithful to the goddess gather, and explains that no other place can match the education of the Royal Academy. Reading this, Alba informs Celia that her father wants him to go with her to the Kriana Academy. The Pope believes that Celia will be able to live the life she wishes for if she attends the academy. He expresses that his mind would be at ease if someone as strong as Alba, who single-handedly defeated the assassins, remained at her side. He also feels certain that Celia herself wishes to stay with him as well. Noticing Alba's troubled expression, Celia tells him that it is okay. With a smile, she assures him that she does not mind going to the academy alone. Seeing her say this, Alba now understands how she deceived her father, as that smile hides her true intentions very well. He then informs her that the academy is a very dangerous place with many people, and many of them are bad individuals eager to throw their weight around. This confuses Celia, while Alba continues, loudly explaining that since the academy is managed by the country, her life would not be in any danger as it was during her pilgrimages. However, there are plenty of unpleasant men who want nothing more than to seduce a cute girl like her. As this confuses her further, Alba loudly asks if she still wants to go. Understanding his intentions and concern, she replies that she is certain there will be many people who will also become her friends. Alba responds by warning her that she will end up losing all her free time to studies she has no real interest in. Celia replies that she has only studied the Bible before, so she is actually looking forward to it. He also tells her that being in an unfamiliar place might exhaust her, but Celia says that she is excited to go somewhere new. With that, they both smile at each other, and after a brief pause, Alba says they will be going together. This makes her very happy, and she hugs him. Alba knows he should stay away from the academy and from this girl, but he has already made up his mind to rebel against the death flags with everything he has. Especially since he believes a smile suits Celia far better than a sad frown. She then expresses how grateful she is for the guidance of the goddess. This annoys Alba, as that goddess of hers is trying to guide him to his death. Now that he thinks about it, he wonders if it was the goddess who guided him to this world in the first place. As he reflects on this, he notices something else written on the letter which makes him groan again. Noticing this, Celia asks if he has changed his mind about the academy. He awkwardly declines and replies that he is looking forward to it. He reacts like this because of the final wish her father wrote, which is for him not to even dare make his daughter cry. Thus, just like that, he had to come to the academy with Celia. After getting out of the carriage, as they walk toward the academy, both are surprised by how large the building is. Alba finds it far more imposing than he ever imagined through a screen. They also notice some statues along the path to the academy building. Celia explains that they are statues of the goddess, the hero, and the holy beast that protects the maiden. When she asks if he does not find them wonderful, Alba feels a nagging sense that each one is tied to different events in the game, though he cannot remember which. He then reminds her to call him Al when they are at the academy. She quickly apologizes for forgetting and addresses him as Al. Since he wants to hide his identity to avoid death flags, Celia's father has provided him with the identity of Al, the Holy Knight Apprentice. Setting that aside, Celia is very surprised to learn that he ran away from his family and is now considered dead by them. She assures him that if they run into any problems with his family, her father will certainly crush them under his thumb. Hearing this, Alba finds her father's power truly fearsome, but even with his help, he plans to do his best to stay away from anyone connected to his death flags. As he grows frustrated that his memory of the game is so unclear, he hears a group of people shouting something. It turns out they have already recognized Celia and are shocked to see the saintess here. Because of this, a large crowd quickly gathers around her, even pushing Alba away. This makes him realize that this is what he should have worried about all along, as Celia is literally a superstar in this world. Surrounded by a crowd of people who keep calling her saintess, Celia begins to panic. As she closes her eyes and wishes for a normal life, a sudden bolt of lightning rushes through the crowd. It is Alba who swiftly carried Celia away from them. He declares that she is here not as the saintess but as a student of Kriana Academy. Thus, he urges everyone to refrain from thoughtlessly crowding her. Even though it's only in name as a holy knight apprentice, Alba resolves to protect Celia at any cost, and seeing his reaction makes her feel very happy. Meanwhile, the crowd is left shocked and confused, wondering what just happened as Alba took Celia away in the blink of an eye. They quickly conclude that, judging by his ability, he must be the son of a great noble family. From behind, a girl watches as Alba and Celia continue walking toward the academy. She appears shocked, but not by Alba's actions, rather she seems to recognize him. After entering the academy, Celia suggests they hurry to collect their uniforms, but Alba stands frozen, still hesitant. Although he believed himself prepared, the reality of standing inside Kriana Academy, the very place where Alba Eretia is destined to meet his doom, makes him tremble. Noticing this, Celia quickly takes his hand. She reassures him that everything is fine and tells him not to be afraid because she is with him. Hearing this, he smiles at her, feeling pathetic that he is the one meant to protect her, yet she is the one comforting him. As expected of the saintess, she completely calmed him down, for which he thanks her. She then starts giggling and admits that she is nervous as well. Inside the main building, they come across a massive stained glass window depicting the hero and the goddess. While Celia wonders whether it is meant to show the hero protecting the goddess, Alba finds its size impressive. As Celia sits and begins to pray, Alba notes that she never fails to pray for everyone regardless of time or place. However, when she prays aloud, asking the goddess to place her in the same class as Alba, he realizes her request is entirely personal. Later, at the uniform distribution section, a teacher informs them that they are assigned to the unicorn class and hands them their uniforms. Celia is delighted to be in the same class as Alba, and he finds it reassuring as well. The old teacher chuckles and tells them to enjoy their school life to the fullest. Celia accepts and thanks him, while Alba suspects this old man might be tied to some kind of event from the game. Setting that aside, the two leave the building, happy to be classmates. While Alba feels relieved that nothing from the game has triggered, Celia excitedly expresses her anticipation about wearing the uniform. When she calls him Alba, he reminds her again that inside the academy she must call him Al, and she again apologizes for forgetting. Suddenly, someone steps in front of them and calls out to Alba by his real name, shocking them both. It is the girl from earlier, who asks if despite his different hair color he is truly Alba. Noticing her fiery red hair, Alba immediately recognizes her. She is unforgettable to the real Alba, and her name is Alina, one of the romance targets and heroines of the game. More importantly, she is Alba's childhood friend and his former fiancé, one of the key figures tied to his death flag. Alina asks him why he is here with the saintess, and noticing his troubled expression, Celia asks Alina if she is mistaking him for someone else. She explains that this person is her holy knight apprentice named Al, who also serves as her attendant. Hearing this, Alina finds it ridiculous, saying he simply removed Ba from Alba to create Al. Realizing they have been caught in their lie, Celia panics and nervously blurts out that he is Al and definitely not Alba, who is now having an awkward encounter with someone he knows because he ran away from home. Hearing this, Alina confirms that Alba indeed ran away from home, which shocks him, but Celia continues frantically insisting that she is wrong and that the Alba who once saved her life is now Al. While he tries to stop her, Alina further confirms that Alba met the saintess after running away, and she now openly suspects that he is the one who spread the rumor of his death. Hearing this, Alba tries to act oblivious, claiming he has no idea what she is talking about, but Alina suddenly unsheathes her sword and slashes at him, which he easily dodges. She warns him that if he continues playing dumb any longer, she will cut him down. He is shocked by her reaction as her attack looked serious. As Celia calls out his name in worry, he tells her to stay back. The commotion causes a crowd to gather, and people begin to recognize Alina from the prestigious Persia family, wondering what she is doing with the man who serves as the saintess's attendant. Ignoring the crowd, Alina menacingly demands once again to know if he is not Alba Uretia. Alba realizes he can't talk his way out of this, but since he has already decided to fight his fate with all his strength, there is no turning back. After a brief pause, he again insists that his name is Al, to which Alina smiles and replies very well. Telling him to engrave this into his body, she suddenly slashes at him, declaring that this is the crime and punishment for deceiving the Persia family. As he dodges her attack, he realizes how dangerous the situation is since Alina is the best swordswoman in the game. But what shocks him more is that she wears a sad expression instead of one of anger. When she rushes to attack again, he instantly vanishes before her eyes, shocking her and the onlookers, only to reappear behind her and tell her to calm down, which stuns her further. As she swings her sword backward in surprise, Alba effortlessly stops it by catching it with his finger, shocking not only her and Celia but also the crowd watching. He is able to do this so easily is thanks to his magic power. After running away from home, he acquired a collection of books on magic, which state that fire, water, and wind are elemental affinities that represent the power of nature, and that one must harmonize with the attribute best suited to them. Remembering this, he recalls how, while playing the game, he used to study the attribute weaknesses of enemies before battle. Following the book's instructions, he begins focusing his mind and harmonizing with the world around him, and in doing so he feels a faint sensation beyond his 5 senses. By continuing this practice, he discovers that his natural attribute is lightning. From that point onward, he constantly sharpens this sensation and hones it for years until he masters the power of magic to the extent that he can wield it freely. He eventually becomes able to transform his body into lightning itself and travel vast distances in the blink of an eye. Now that he can finally do it, he finds this power both incredible and perfectly fitting for the strongest villain. Back in the present, he requests Alina to at least hear him out, but she refuses, insisting that she will not listen to any more of his foolish nonsense. He apologizes to her, admitting that he knows she resents Alba, but now he is simply Al. Hearing this, she begins trembling with emotion, and just as she is about to respond, Alba vanishes again. As the people nearby are shocked that he disappears once more, they are even more surprised when they notice that the saintess has also disappeared. Since both of them are nowhere to be seen, Alina realizes they have escaped. As tears run down her face, a fellow student asks her if she is all right. She replies that she is fine and claims she just has a bit of dust in her eyes. Meanwhile, Alba arrives directly in a city and believes that they are probably far enough now. Celia expresses her surprise at suddenly being carried away like that, to which he apologizes. Noticing that she is pouting at him, he asks if she is angry and she replies that she is not. She then asks who the beautiful lady named Alina was. Before he can answer, Celia says that despite Alina being more mature than her, with a bigger chest and being very pretty, she is not jealous at all. Hearing this, Alba bursts into laughter, prompting Celia to ask why he is laughing. He replies with a warm smile that she is a terrible liar. Setting that aside, he asks if they should head to the house her father has prepared for them, but Celia declines, which confuses him. She clarifies that she will only go if he carries her the entire way, which after a brief pause he agrees to. From today's events, it seems to Alba that life at Kriana Academy is going to be full of trouble right from the start. Later, when they arrive in front of the house prepared for them, both of them are stunned by how large it is. While Alba looks around, Celia notices something and tells him to look. What she points out is a vegetable garden, where she explains they can grow their own crops just like they do in the mountains. Alba is deeply impressed, since this house is located in the heart of the royal capital where people from all over the world gather. Having a 2-story house with its own garden must be incredibly expensive, something to be expected from Celia's father. They then enter the house and find it well furnished, with Alba and Celia each having their own separate room on the 2nd floor. However, there is still one matter to take care of, so Alba asks Celia about it, but she replies that she has not received any money. Alba explains that he thought perhaps her father had given her some living expenses along with the house. Celia clarifies that her father told her if she wishes to live an ordinary life, she must earn her living herself. Alba feels glad that her father is not simply spoiling her, but is genuinely trying to help her become independent. However, Celia adds that her father also said he would give her money if things ever became too difficult. Hearing this, Alba immediately takes back his earlier thoughts and believes her father is still too soft. Since they do not have much money, Alba decides to find work immediately, but Celia tells him that he does not need to work because she will be the one earning for them. As this confuses him, Celia explains that her father has already arranged for her to work at the church. The saintess has a divine blessing bestowed by the goddess. Among these blessings is oracle hearing, which helps avert many disasters thanks to the goddess's warnings. Another is healing power, a high-level magic that cures all wounds and illnesses. Troubled and sick believers gather in hopes of benefiting from the saintess's power. Celia receives a portion of the donations from these believers. She took this role with the pure intention of helping everyone, but the reason she was sent on harsh pilgrimages since childhood was not because of that. He suspects that someone very greedy must have orchestrated it, as her pilgrimages draw massive donations to the church. This means the saintess is literally a gold mine. Noticing him scowling, Celia asks him what is wrong, and hearing her voice, he snaps out of it and says it is nothing. He then insists that he will work too so she does not have to worry about money, but Celia questions why despite her saying she will earn for them. Alba explains that letting a girl do all the work while the man does nothing is a blow to his pride, but Celia argues again that since they live together, it should be fine. In response, he bluntly tells her to save that kind of devotion for her future husband. Hearing this, she begins hitting Alba while he asks her why, but when he looks at her clearly, he notices that she has started crying. She then leaves the room, saying she does not care anymore and telling him to do whatever he wants. He asks where she is going and she replies that she will be eating dinner by herself. Later, as Alba lies in bed, he believes he has not said anything wrong, since right now he is only her companion and she already has a proper match. The real protagonist of Kriana fantasy, Yuri, who is not only very handsome but also a master of both sword and magic. He is a true saint, the complete opposite of a villain like Alba, and more importantly, all the heroines in the game fall for Yuri. Alba believes that when this happens there will be no reason for him to stay with Celia. It has now been 3 months since they first met. On the first day, when he brought her to his cabin, she found it lovely and asked if she could really stay there. Alba assured her that she can stay as long as she wants and reminded her that here she is not a saintess but a normal girl. A few days later, she began working in the fields with him, helping harvest vegetables. She also started learning to cook with him and became familiar with the Goman bath he had built. At night, they walked together under the starry skies of the mountains. For the first time in his life, he felt truly relaxed with Celia by his side. Right now, if he says he would not miss her when she leaves, he knows he would be lying, but if Celia moves forward with the life that is meant for her, then he will accept it. He convinces himself that if this happens, he will also avoid a death flag. A few moments later, Celia knocks on his door and enters, apologizing for earlier, but then notices that Alba has already fallen asleep. She quietly expresses that it is all thanks to him that she is here now, and while covering him with a sheet, she thanks him. Later, as sunlight streams through the window and birds chirp outside, Alba wakes up. Realizing it is already morning, he wonders when he fell asleep, then notices something on the table. It is food left by Celia along with a note apologizing for yesterday and informing him that she has gone to the church for her duties. After reading the note, he thanks her and after freshening up starts eating the burger. He finds it delicious and feels glad that they have familiar food, which he suspects is because this is a game world. Since Celia goes to the church to earn money, he is determined to do the same. Later, he arrives at the Adventurers Guild, which serves as a mediator that manages and assigns jobs from all over the kingdom. They handle every kind of work, from simple deliveries to dangerous missions such as exterminating monsters known as magic beasts, so there is a wide variety of requests to choose from. Those who take on the dangerous requests are the hardened group that gathers here for money and fame, and they are called adventurers. In the game Kriana Fantasy, adventuring is not necessary to complete the story. But since this is real life for Alba, he sees no reason not to do it, especially because it is the fastest way to earn money. After reviewing the quest board, he decides to take on the gigantic Magic Beast Extermination quest, which offers a reward of 5 million curia, the currency of this world. Though he has never fought a magic beast before, he is confident in the strength he has built up over the past 3 years. Then some guards call out to Alba, informing him that what he is looking at is the 5-star quest board and that there is no way a newcomer like him is already at 5 stars. Hearing this, Alba remembers that rookie adventurers can only accept simple 1-star requests. An adventurer's star rank increases based on quest completions and contributions to the guild, so he cannot obtain the high rewards without first raising his rank. He then goes to the reception area, where a receptionist greets him and explains that this is the 1-star reception. He begins discussing the quest with her and asks which type would suit him best. After checking the rank 1 board, she gives him an herb collection quest, and with that, he leaves the guild. Although the herb collection quest does not pay much, it cannot be helped since he is a beginner, so he must start small and slowly raise his rank. Since taking a carriage to the Western Forest is expensive, he decides to run there instead. He then takes his stance and instantly dashes away like a bolt of lightning, moving so quickly that he appears to others as a streak of light. Meanwhile, two students of Kriana Academy are walking through town, and the girl complains that living in a dorm is such a drag. The boy with her replies that it cannot be helped because rent in the royal capital is extremely expensive. But even then, he believes it is still quite fortunate that they can attend Kriana Academy despite being commoners, to which the girl agrees. Just then, Alba rushes past them so quickly that the girl wonders if it was only a gust of wind, but the boy notices what it really was and finds it incredible. The boy turns out to be none other than Yuri's, the true protagonist of the Kriana fantasy game. When the girl asks him what is wrong, he replies that it is nothing, addressing her as Alice. Setting that aside, he asks if she is not buying too much, to which she responds that a girl needs all sorts of things. Alba quickly stops in his tracks as Yuri's is not the only one who notices him. He also notices Yuri's and recognizes him. Later in the mountains near Kriana Academy, Alba successfully gathered all the herbs required for the quest. With that task completed, he prepares to leave, and despite being high up in the mountains, he easily leaps from one ledge to another as he makes his way down. Thanks to his years of living in the mountains, traversing the terrain has become effortless. Later, when Alba arrives at the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist is shocked because it has only been 3 hours since he accepted the quest, yet he has already completed it. She asks him how he managed to finish so quickly since it is normally a 6-hour round trip. Alba explains that he ran at high speed, which astonishes her. However, since the quest is complete, it is not her place to pry further, so she hands him the quest reward. With this, he earns 10,000 curia in 3 hours for a 1-star quest. Since this amount is insufficient, he knows he must rise in rank quickly if he wants to earn more. Setting that aside for now, he wonders how Celia is doing. Meanwhile, in the church, Celia fulfills her duty as the saintess, praying for her followers who have gathered to see her. The priests are pleased with her presence as her followers are overjoyed to have her among them. With this many followers coming to see her, Celia ended up earning over 10 times more than Alba in the same amount of time. Later in the capital, Alba eats ramen and finds the place remarkable because it has a ramen shop. However, the capital is also home to the Eretia Duchy, Alba's family. Since 3 years have passed, his brother should have inherited the house and title by now. Although they are brothers, Alba ran away immediately after his reincarnation, so they are essentially strangers, and he knows little about the state of their relationship. Considering that they never denied the rumors of his death, it is certain that they think very little of him. Setting that aside, unlike the mountains, the capital has people who know Alba. Because of this, he must stay alert so he does not run into people like Alina. As he leaves the ramen shop, he resolves not to let his guard down since anything could lead to a death flag. Just then, he hears people shouting for everyone to watch out, and it turns out they are warning about a runaway horse. A girl falls to her knees while trying to escape, and the horse charges straight at her while all she can do is scream helplessly. At the moment the horse is about to trample her, a bolt of lightning shoots through the crowd and strikes the beast. As clouds of dust rise into the air, the girl is stunned to see the flash of blue lightning. When the dust begins to clear, Alba asks the girl if she is all right. Once the view becomes clear, it is revealed that Alba has taken down the horse and now stands atop it. He asks the girl again if she is okay, to which she confirms that she is fine. Alba then steps off the horse and, despite only knocking it out, apologizes to it while the girl thanks him. However, she remarks that she has seen his face somewhere before, which shocks him. He worries that if she is a noble, it would not be unusual for her to recognize the Duke's second son, Alba. Before he can respond, the crowd erupts in cheers, praising how amazing and cool he is for taking down the wild horse. Quickly, he pulls up his hood to hide his face. He acted because he could not ignore her scream, but he realizes that if he keeps standing out like this, there is a chance someone will recognize him as Alba. While he considers this, a group of knights arrives at the scene, and their leader asks about the commotion. The girl Alba rescued immediately identifies the man as Duke Roy Eretia, which shocks Alba. Roy also seems to recognize the girl and asks if she is from the Lupica barony, to which she confirms, introducing herself as Mina and reminding him that they met at his succession ceremony. She then explains that the hooded man saved her from a runaway horse. Judging by their conversation, such as addressing him as the Duke and mentioning the succession ceremony, Alba wonders if this man Roy is his brother. Roy then expresses his gratitude to Alba as the one in charge of public order and a friend of the Lupica family. However, Alba does not respond, as he cannot allow Roy to discover who he truly is. Not receiving a reply, Roy asks whether Alba has not accepted his thanks or is simply being rude. Alba replies that it is not the case and tries to walk away, excusing himself. However, to his horror, Roy calls out the name Alba, which shocks him and forces him to stop in his tracks. Roy then explains that Alba's voice reminds him of his foolish little brother, which is why he called out that name. Feeling a bit suspicious, he asks Alba to show his face. With a trembling voice, Alba responds that his face is not worth showing to a duke, but Roy sternly declares that it is for him to decide and orders Alba to look at him. The situation turns dangerously serious, as the moment Alba shows his face, he has no idea what fate awaits him. But just then someone calls out to him as Al, saying they have found him, and judging by everyone's familiar reaction, this person seems to be well known among those present. Roy quickly identifies her as Alina Persia, and Alina greets him politely with a good day. For Alba, however, it is not good at all, as behind him stands his supposed brother Roy and before him his former fiancée, both of whom know the real Alba. With a tiger in front and a wolf behind, Alba finds himself in a perilous position and wonders what he should do. Roy then asks Alina if she knows this man, and she replies that he is her friend, a squire in training named Al. She adds that since he was late for their meeting, she came to find him, and she even comments that helping someone and showing up late does indeed sound like something a knight in training would do. Alba, however, is confused, wondering why she is covering for him. Since that is the case, Roy asks if that means he is not Alba. Hearing this, Alina acts confused and insists there is no way she could mistake Alba for someone else, especially considering she was once his fiancée, and beyond that she reminds everyone that Alba is supposed to be dead. After this statement, the two of them stare sharply at each other for a brief time. After that pause, Roy agrees with her, stating that his foolish brother who disgraced the family name is no more, and he apologizes to Al, who replies that it is all right. With that matter resolved, Roy suggests escorting Mina to her residence, to which she agrees and thanks him, but before leaving she turns to Alba and thanks him as well for saving her, which he accepts. With that, they all depart, leaving Alina and Alba alone. Since Alba does not want to be involved with her, he decides to run, thanking her by saying that because of her he managed to get away without trouble, and begins walking away, bidding farewell. Though uncertain of what just happened, at least his cover is not blown, so he decides it is best to leave quickly. But just then he is once again stopped in his tracks, this time with a sword pointed beside him by Alina. She tells him to stop as they need to talk, and she also calls him by his true name, Alba. He nervously averts his gaze and asks what she means, to which she threatens that if he continues to play dumb, she will reveal his identity to the Duke. Realizing that she knows after all, he gives up and says he will explain everything. This leaves him deeply frustrated, as he has not even started school yet and is already in trouble. He blames it all on the goddess of fate, thinking that she never misses a chance to torment him. The next day at Kriana Academy, the entrance ceremony takes place. The headmaster congratulates the new students on their enrollment and urges them to nurture ambition and polish their wisdom, reminding them that they are the ones who will carry the future. The headmaster, the same old man who previously assigned the dress, loudly declares that his own destiny may shine brightly through the blessing of the goddess of fate before enthusiastically shouting, "Yay" and "Hooray." Witnessing this, Celia considers the headmaster to be very energetic, while Alba recalls him from the game as the helper character who provided hints to the player. With the ceremony concluded, Celia and Alba manage to safely enroll in Kriana Academy without encountering any trouble thus far. However, Alba knows that within this academy, his true death flags will begin to appear. In total, 5 heroines are connected to these death flags, and among them he is already involved with 2, Celia and Alina. Adding more potential complications would only increase the risk of triggering his death. One of the remaining heroines is the princess, a hidden character who does not appear within the academy and therefore poses no concern. The real problem lies with the other 2, the protagonist's childhood friend Alice and the sage's disciple Lily. Alba must be extremely cautious around them as they are both his classmates. Yet even more concerning than the 5 heroines is another individual Alba must avoid at all costs, the protagonist of the game, Yuri, who is standing only a few people away. The danger does not stem solely from the fact that Yuri is the protagonist, but rather because nearly every villain in the game meets death at his hands. As Alba secretly observes him, their eyes suddenly meet. Alba quickly looks away, leaving Yuri momentarily confused. When Celia asks Alba if something is wrong, and Alice similarly questions Yuri, both dismiss it as nothing. Alba silently resolves never to become involved with Yuri under any circumstances and determines to spend his academy days without drawing attention to himself. Later, in the unicorn classroom, which both Celia and Alba attend, they find themselves surrounded by curious students. Alba quickly realizes it is impossible to remain unnoticed while seated next to the saintess, whom everyone whispers about and stares at. More importantly, he notices Celia's nervousness and understands that achieving a normal school life will be difficult for her. As he wonders what to do, Celia suddenly stands and introduces herself as Celia Margaret, a first-year student in the unicorn class. She clarifies that she is present not as the saintess but as their classmate and encourages everyone to call her simply Celia. The classroom erupts in chatter and she instantly wins everyone's hearts. The students begin addressing her as Celia instead of saintess, relieving Alba of one concern. However, a new problem soon arises when a girl asks who Alba is. Other students begin to recognize his face and recall unpleasant rumors, scrutinizing him more closely. Alba realizes too late that the academy includes many noble children, and despite changes in his hair color and personality, there is still a risk of them discovering his true identity. At that moment, Celia suddenly takes the lead, introducing him as her friend, a holy knight apprentice named Al. Alba finds this difficult to believe, as becoming friendly with someone suspicious so suddenly seems implausible. Yet the others immediately accept the explanation and warmly greet him, shocking Alba, who recognizes the fearsome influence of the saintess's presence. Celia then winks at him and he silently responds with gratitude. Soon after, another student greets Alba, revealing herself to be Alina. Alba asks if she is also in the unicorn class and she confirms, explaining that they are now classmates. While the others whisper about her beauty and skill with the sword, Celia quietly asks Alba if this is the girl from the other day. He confirms and reveals that he told her the truth about his real identity as Alba, not Al, because she is his former fiancé. Alina apologizes for the trouble she caused earlier, addressing Celia respectfully as Her Holiness. Celia, however, is left stunned after learning of Alba's former engagement to Alina. After the incident with Roy, Alba had admitted to Alina that he truly was Alba. Alina, surprised by the reunion, questions whether he ran away from home 3 years ago because he despised the ducal house. Alba confirms, explaining that he wished to abandon his old self and be reborn as someone new. He refrains from mentioning his reincarnation, knowing she would never believe it and fearing it could raise a death flag. Alina recounts that 3 years earlier, the Arecia family contacted her family to break off the engagement. Rumors at the time suggested he had gone missing, was presumed dead, or had been disposed of by the Duke. Alba laughs awkwardly, remarking that their opinion of him must have been very low. Alina admits that her family rejoiced at the separation, glad to be rid of a delinquent. Hearing this, Alba feels somewhat relieved and asks if she too had hated him. She admits that she had, calling him a despicable, womanizing scoundrel she often considered cutting down herself. This terrifies Alba, but after a pause, Alina confesses that when she believed he had died, she shed tears. A memory from their childhood resurfaces. A young Alba once asked a crying Alina why she was upset. She told him that her father said her personality and swordsmanship were too masculine and that she should act more like a woman. Young Alba bluntly replied that it did not matter whether she acted like a man or a woman. What mattered was the value of Alina herself. That moment had made her happy. Remembering this, she admits she did not dislike the Alba of their youth. This revelation surprises Alba, as it was never mentioned in the game, making him question whether the original Alba was ever truly a bad person. Alina continues, pointing out that he now guards the saintess and recently risked his life to protect a woman from a runaway horse. To her, this proves he has truly been reborn. Alba laughs awkwardly, knowing the person inside is indeed different. Alina softly murmurs that he has become just like he once was. Alba, unable to hear clearly, reacts with confusion, but she dismisses it. She then asks what he plans to do about the nobles who despise him at the academy. Alba responds that he will simply do his best not to be exposed. After a pause, Alina promises to help him, surprising him. He thanks her warmly, making her blush, though she clarifies that in return he must also help her. She explains that since their engagement ended, she has been overwhelmed with suitors. If they bother her at the academy, he must drive them away. This shocks him, as it directly opposes his desire to remain inconspicuous. Back in the present, Alba reminds Alina of her promise, and she tells him not to forget his own. Overhearing this exchange and learning of their broken engagement, Celia feels her mind cloud with countless assumptions. She steps in, addressing Alina, who again refers to her as Her Holiness. Celia firmly reminds her that they are classmates and insists on being called Celia. Alina agrees and requests the same courtesy. With that, she pats Celia's head in greeting, surprising her. Celia greets her back, and the two instantly warm to one another, with Celia finding Alina beautiful and Alina finding Celia cute. Celia then confronts Alba about why he kept his connection to Alina a secret. He explains that he had not hidden it but simply never found the chance to tell her. Celia refuses the explanation and pouts, which Alina finds charming. At that moment, someone comments on Alba having a flower in each hand with both the saintess and Alina. The person warns him not to get carried away, calling him a mere holy knight apprentice. When Alba asks who he is, the man mocks him as a country bumpkin. Alina identifies him as Walbi, the eldest son of Count Walgut, and notes that he is one of the suitors she wants Alba to handle. Walbi greets Alina, complimenting her beauty, but she responds with irritation, saying he never changes. Walbi insists that despite his family being mere counts, they are still high-ranking nobles, and he believes their union would be an excellent match for House Persia. Alina curtly tells him not to bring marriage proposals to the academy. Shocked murmurs ripple through the crowd, but Walbi presses on, declaring that as classmates he cannot let this opportunity slip. He extols Alina as a flower of the Persia family, blessed with royal blood, and insists she is worth more than she realizes. With grand confidence, he asks her to join him in marriage for the benefit of both their families. Before Alina can answer, Alba interrupts, asking what nonsense he is spouting. Though partly fulfilling Alina's earlier request, he also acts out of his own distaste for people like Walbi. Alba declares that Walbi is not suited for Alina because he fails to understand her true worth. The bold statement stuns Walbi into silence, while the others and Celia are glad Alba intervened. Alina, recalling their childhood encounter, feels a deep surge of emotion at his words. Furious, Walbi demands to know how Alba dares insult the House of Walgett. Declaring that he will not forgive this slight, he throws a handkerchief into the air. Alba catches it in confusion and asks what it means, only for the crowd to suddenly cry out that it signifies a duel, leaving him utterly shocked. Kriana Academy enforces strict rules that forbid students from fighting to the death. However, students do have the right to challenge others to a duel if it is to protect their dignity and pride. To initiate a duel, one must throw a designated handkerchief at the opponent, and if the opponent catches it, this is considered proof of agreement. Duels are permitted only on the Academy's official dueling grounds and require a designated referee. That referee is a black cat who introduces itself as Kate Sith and announces the duel between Walbi and Alba. At this, the audience erupts into cheers, some supporting Alba, some Walbi, while others attend simply to see the black cat. Among the crowd, Celia expresses surprise that Alba has actually accepted the duel, while beside her, Alina remarks that fleeing from a duel is a shame heavier than death, urging Alba to prepare himself. Despite her words, Alba remains in shock as he accepted the duel by accident without even knowing the rules. Walbi mocks him, calling him a country bumpkin and urging him to surrender while he still has the chance. Before Alba can respond, the referee cat informs them that both must declare what their pride and dignity stand for. Alba recalls that in the game, the dueling system was merely a side event unrelated to the main story, which is why it had nothing to do with his death flag. Walbi declares that if Alba loses, he must stay out of Alina's affairs, adding that he will also take the saintess for himself. This infuriates Alba, and since his death flag is irrelevant here, he accepts. He states that if he wins, Walbi must stay away from them. Walbi agrees, confident of his victory. With both sides' oaths established, the referee cat commences the duel. As the crowd cheers, Celia asks Alina whether Walbi is truly that strong. Alina explains that Walbi is a fire mage considered the best in their year in terms of destructive power. Walbi begins chanting, flames gathering in his hand. Seeing this, Alba wonders if he intends to open with a spell. From the intensity of the mana, the referee cat realizes Walbi is preparing a high-level incantation. Shouting the spell's name, Purgatory Flame, Walbi hurls a massive fireball at Alba, creating an explosion so violent it shocks everyone. Worried, Celia cries out Alba's name. As smoke engulfs the area, Walbi bursts into laughter, convinced that Alba has been reduced to ashes. He then asks the referee whether killing in a duel is considered a crime. The cat replies that it is not, but reminds him that as referee its role is to prevent such outcomes. Walbi is confused, and the referee clarifies that there is no need for it to intervene yet. At that moment, Alba suddenly appears behind Walbi and calmly remarks that the flames were impressive. However, he points out that Walbi leaves himself wide open while chanting. Walbi, too shocked to respond coherently, demands to know how Alba appeared behind him. The referee cat is equally impressed by Alba's speed. Those who have witnessed Alba fight before recognize the move as his instantaneous teleportation and wonder how he performs it. Alina recalls when they first encountered him at the academy, where he used this same ability to dodge her attack and even catch it at incredible speed. She thinks that his movements feel almost inhuman, but before she can finish the thought, another voice supplies the word lightning. The girl explains that Alba does not generate lightning but instead transforms his body into the phenomenon itself. She elaborates that magic is the act of introducing phenomena into the world, and Alba simply becomes a phenomenon. The other students, surprised by her sudden presence, whisper among themselves. Though they find her cute, they are curious about her identity. Ignoring them, she muses that perhaps this is why Alba can use magic without chanting, though she still finds it nearly impossible. Since this method is so dangerous and difficult, she doubts many present can even comprehend it. Recalling Alba's name from the announcement, she states that the power he displays belongs to the domain of her master, the sage, and therefore she will not lose to him. This girl is Lily, one of the heroines of Kriana fantasy and the sage's disciple. Back in the duel, after Alba appeared behind him, Walbi quickly retreats. Declaring that Alba will not escape again, he begins chanting another spell. As his long, tedious incantation continues, Alba tells him to stop, reminding him once again that chanting leaves him full of openings. Seeing that Walbi refuses to heed him, Alba turns into lightning once more and strikes before the chant is complete, thrusting him away. Walbi is sent flying out of the ring and crashes to the ground. Alba wonders if he might have overdone it, but since Walbi has left the ring, the referee cat announces Alba as the victor. All the students then began cheering for Alba, while some cat nurses rush to Walbi and after checking find him unconscious but unharmed. In the audience, two students in particular watch the fight with great focus. Yuri's the true protagonist and his childhood friend Alice, another heroine. They are astonished by Alba's ability to cast without chanting, something they consider impossible. Alice is grateful they witnessed the duel and asks for Yuri's opinion. He agrees, explaining that while it looked like Alba defeated Walbi with one strike, in truth, Alba never actually landed a blow. Instead, he merely thrust his arm forward at such incredible speed that it produced a shockwave powerful enough to launch Walbi. Alice is even more impressed upon hearing this, and Yuri's confirms it. Alice then remarks that Alba is not the only unbelievable one, because while she and the other students could only perceive a blur and a flash of blue light, Yuri's was able to see and analyze the movement in detail. Curious, she asks who would win if Yuri's and Alba fought. Yuri's is taken aback, but Alice clarifies that since he could follow Alba's movements, perhaps he could counter them. Concluding that he would still lose, she presses him for confirmation. Yuri's agrees, adding that there is no need for them to fight. After a brief pause, however, he admits that if Alba were ever to bring sadness to those he holds dear, he would not lose. After the duel, Alba meets Celia and Alina. Celia praises his strength while Alina expresses her surprise, asking when he acquired such power. He tells her he trained while living deep in the mountains. In truth, it was not training alone but also the natural talent of the real Alba, something only he knows in this world. In the game, Alba is a powerful character capable of becoming the final boss, and if that Alba trains and grows, he can become strong enough not to lose even to the protagonist. With this potential to become the strongest, the protagonist feels reassured that his own confidence in strength is not unfounded. Alina remarks that for someone who once hated effort, Alba now trains diligently, making him seem like a completely different person. Alba reminds her that he has been reborn into a new self. Celia then asks if the old Alba was truly so terrible, and Alina confirms it, calling him the lowest of the low. This leaves Alba somewhat awkward, but Celia insists that despite everything to her, Alba is the best. She hugs him, prompting him to remind her once again to call him Al within the academy. He then wonders aloud whether he may have gone too far in the duel, but Celia assures him he did not, insisting that anyone who troubles Alina deserves to be sent flying. She promises that if anything happens, she will heal him, and he calls her a reliable saintess. Watching them, Alina feels something stir within her. She thanks Alba for dueling on her behalf, and he reminds her that he promised to protect her. Alina blushes and agrees. Alba believes that everything is fine since duels have nothing to do with his death flag. Yet fate continues to move forward, and without his knowledge, the key figures are already being drawn in.